welcome to 10 Minutes Tech. In the series of videos for the beginners, in this video, I will teach you how to create an API that will receive a number as the input, process it and determine whether the given number is odd number or even number, and pass the result or the response back to the browser. So here is the text box. I will enter a number 4. It displays the result here. Enter a number 977. 77 is odd number. In this example, we will see how you can use Spring Boot to create an API like this. So to achieve this, what are the steps involved? For the front end, we have only one step. We need to design the front end using HTML. For the back end, we have 3 steps that are very simple. First, we need to set up the Spring Initializer. This will set up the project. Then we need to download or extract all the dependencies and keep it in our folder. Third one will be to create the API logic. This will be under the controller class. The main class is automatically created by Spring Boot for us. We need to create a controller class that will have the logic to determine whether a number is odd or even. Only 3 simple steps for the backend. Let us begin with our backend development first using Spring Boot. For that, you need to go to start.spring.io to set up the project. Once you hit enter, it will open this page. This is the Spring Initializer page. Select the type of project, which is Maven. Language is obviously Java, and choose the version of the Spring Boot. 3.5.6 is the stable version currently, so I have used that. Don't use any snapshot version. And then you can give the name of the project. Here they call it as artifact name. I will give odd even. Okay, once you give the artifact name, then this name also would be same. Then one last step you need to do here is to add the dependencies. Again, we need to add 2 dependencies. One is the Spring Web, and another one would be the DevTools. Okay, so once you do this and click on generate, it will download a zip file in your downloads folder. Okay, just go to that folder and then extract, and I have already extracted here into this folder. Okay, this is the second step. Setting up the project using Spring Initializer is the first step, and then extracting zip file into a local folder is the second step. 2 steps done. Now let us go to the third step, that is the API logic creation. Open VS Code, and then I have already opened the project folder here. Okay, that is here, demo controller. So what you can, if you haven't opened it yet, you can go to file and then open folder. To the location, you need to open the folder which has the zip file extracted from the project, right? So just open that and you will see this one. So you will see demo odd even application.java file, which is automatically created for you, which has the main function here. Now, so to create an API, we need to add a controller, correct? We saw it in the Hello World example. So create a controller package like this, and then inside the controller package, create a class, name it as odd even controller or whatever name you wish. Okay, so odd even controller.java. I have already created this small program, so I don't need to do it again. So if you have already seen my first video on the Hello World example, I have used 2 annotations. One is the REST controller, another one is get mapping. So REST controller is an annotation to tell the compiler and the runtime that this is the controller, this is a program we are going to create RESTful APIs. So REST controller is the annotation required here. Another one is get mapping. Get mapping I have given /check. So when the user enters localhost 8080/check, okay, so this will receive the user's request in the /check parameter. Okay, and I have used a simple string function here to check whether the input number is odd or even. Okay, so the user would enter the number, and the number would be received in this parameter number. And since we are going to receive a parameter, we need to denote it using this annotation, request parameter. Okay, so this is a simple logic, right? So if any number that can be divided by 2, that is an even number, otherwise it is an odd number. Okay, so that's all. This is a simple program only. So this is the API. What you are seeing here, from here to this one, is an API. Now let us come to front-end coding. So you need to create a HTML file and place the file in this folder, that is source main, and there would be a resources folder already. Under that there would be a static folder. Inside this folder, static folder, you need to place your HTML file. So HTML, we have a body has the heading odd or even, h1, h2, and the third statement would be the input number, a text box where the user would enter the number. Okay, the ID is this one, and then there is a button. So when the user presses the button, then the check number function would be called. The check number function is a JavaScript function I have embedded within the script tag here. So document dot get element by id number input dot value. So it will read the input entered by the user and then store it in a field called a variable called num, and then we need to call this URL. Okay, this is the URL where the API is available. If you see here, slash check is the API we have given in the backend coding, right? API creation one. And then what we are going to pass, we are going to pass a parameter, whatever the user inputs here in the text box, right? That is stored in num, and you are going to append the number equal to num to the API slash check API. So this will call this API with a parameter, whatever entered by the user. Okay. Now it will store the fetch function here. The fetch function will get the response, okay, from this URL. Okay, typically the fetch function will get the response in by means of an object. Object would be returned when you call any URL using fetch function, and the response object would be stored in this variable response. Okay, now we need to get the response from the response object. The response object would be having some details like status equal to 200, response equal to okay, header information, etc. From that response object, we need to use this function response.text. Okay, that will return the actual message given by this API. When the user enters even number, it will return that entered number is even, otherwise it is an odd number. So the response, actual text response is stored in result. Okay, and then we are going to finally display the result in a paragraph field. Okay, that's the logic here. So we have finished writing the backend code, front end code. Now it's time for us to test the API. Let me give a number 5. So when I click on this check button, it is displaying 5 is odd number. Let me give another number 20 and click on check. So it is displaying 20 is even number, which is correct. So that's all guys. Congratulations. You have completed learning how to create the APIs. So you would have come to know that creating APIs is not that much complex. It's easy. So starting something is difficult, but once you know that you started, then it is difficult for anyone to stop, get going. So go ahead and create your own API suiting your own requirements.